Hi, I'm Kaya, and I'm the creator of Awaken DQ. I want to talk today about fear. Fear is one of those emotions that can be extremely hard to be with. It's inherent. When we feel fear, our nervous system says run. And then often what our nervous system wants to run from is the fear itself. It's a really common challenge to be with fear, to experience fear. And thus, it becomes one of those things from our childhood that keeps coming up, keeps getting triggered in our everyday lives. So, if you're someone who really struggles with fear, I encourage you to listen all the way through. First of all, fear is necessary, it's actually healthy. We are pre-programmed with certain fears. We come into the world without any experience, and we are automatically afraid of heights and creepy crawlers. This keeps us alive, right? If we had to wait until we had experience with heights, we wouldn't survive. And many creepy crawlers are actually poisonous. So there's just an innate biological pre-programmed fear of these things. But then there's fear about other things, fear of speaking in front of groups, fear that you're going to make a mistake, fear that you're going to get left. These are different kinds of fears. These are based in experience. And then when we feel the fear, we have a real tendency to want to get away from it. It becomes something that we try to address with affirmations or reframes. For example, if you're not familiar with reframes, I'm afraid I'm unlovable or I'm going to get left. You can reframe that as saying to yourself, that is me choosing me. That is uh, being having smart skepticism, right? That we will wrap it up intellectually in something positive. Now, reframes are not wrong. Neither are affirmations or anything else you do with your fear. They just are powerless against fear. Sometimes they can help, but what they typically do is just push the fear back down. And emotions, once generated, do not dissipate. They do not go away on their own. And you will hear me say this 1,000 times. Time does not heal all wounds. It has no impact on them other than maybe allowing you to bury them. But under the right circumstances with the right trigger, boom, you are right there again in the pain, in the fear, all over again. So it's one of our foundational understandings about emotions that we've been taught completely backwards about, that emotions do not get better over time. Nonsense. So when we use these intellectual tools to subvert our fear, we're just postponing it. We may be soothing ourselves in the moment, but it will come back. Come back from where, though, you might be asking me? It's coming back from your childhood. This is the core of Awaken DQ training. And I'm not going to go into those specific details right now, but you can find the video about AEQ fundamentals, and that will give you the details. But right now, just accept this idea, and I'm going to explain it actually, why your fear is coming from your childhood. Here's why. When you were a little kid and you got scared, you went to the grown-ups and you said, I'm scared. And what did they say? Did you hear some version of, oh, there's nothing to be afraid of? Or don't be such a scaredy cat? One was shaming to train. Don't be a scaredy cat. The other one was actually probably intended to soothe you, to calm you, to reassure you. Oh, you don't have to be afraid. I'm here. I'll take care of you. Everything's fine. There's nothing to worry about. But that's not what you got from that message. You did not necessarily feel reassured because you were having a physiological experience. You were feeling fear in your body. And it was never acknowledged. It was never addressed. You were not told what to do with that emotional energy of fear, just that you don't need to be having it. And you might have even heard you were wrong for having it. Because if there's nothing to be afraid of, then you shouldn't be afraid, right? So here you are, a little kid. Your body is experiencing fear. Your mind is experiencing fear. And the grown-ups really gave you very little, except that there's something wrong that you are afraid. So to make the grown-ups happy, because you need them and you want to make them proud, you push the fear down. You hold it inside. You try not to let it show. That's a problem because feelings don't go away. That became stored up inside of you. So how do we get rid of this fear? It needs to be felt. That's the number one rule about feelings. If you want to be over a feeling, you want to be done with a feeling, you want to be free of a feeling, you got to feel it. It's like emotional gasoline in your emotional gas tank. It's got to be used up. Or it sits there and it looks for opportunities to come out. It attracts opportunities to come out. So when you have a situation in your everyday life that legitimately causes fear in you, your old fear from childhood rises to the top and says, oh, goody, it's a chance to feel fear and get over it and be done with it. The problem is, if you don't connect to the childhood fear, if you stay only oriented in the thing in the present that's freaking you out, making you anxious, the old fear never gets finished. And then it just generates more. It just keeps coming to the surface. It just keeps attracting more opportunities to get felt. And this is why we keep, for those of us who struggle with anxiety, it just keeps happening over and over and over again, right? It's very, very painful. It's very, very stressful. It's horrible. It's torture. But there is an answer, and the answer is not intellectual. You can't heal your feelings with your thoughts or your words. Feelings need to be felt, and they need to be felt about your childhood rather than the thing in the present, or it needs to be felt like a child. Imagine yourself as a little kid. How would you express this fear? How did you express fear if you express it as a child? You may not have. But children feel things full body, head to toe. They curl up in a ball. They hide under the bed. They cry. They yell. They scream. Make it go away. Make it go away. I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. Now, you may already be thinking, I am not doing that. And I feel you. I do. But even that resistance is part of the training you got as a child, that it's shameful to act this way. It's not shameful. You, as an adult, have a right to feel fear. You need to feel fear. And you, as a child, absolutely should have fear. A child really has one priority, and that is to survive. And fear is what keeps us alive and keeps us safe. And to be afraid of things that you had no experience with or felt too big is completely legitimate. Even if we know as adults the thing we were afraid of wasn't going to happen, you didn't know that as a child. So judging yourself for having fear is as much a part of the problem as the fear itself. So in Awakened EQ, we have to develop a certain amount of permission to feel, overcoming that cultural training that you're being a baby, that you're being a scaredy cat, that you're being weak. You're going to hear those messages. They're going to plague you over and over and over again. And you've got to just ignore them or yell back at them. Because the people who trained you were wrong. The culture in which we've grown up in has some bad habits around feelings, some misconceptions. And whatever you felt, you've probably heard it, all feelings are valid. They are. Every feeling is valid. They're not necessarily the truth, right? But my daughter got injured when she was very young, like I think she was about four or five, and she got clipped by a metal bat. She and her brother were playing, and it cut her scalp. And she was worried that her brains were going to fall out. Okay, wasn't going to happen. Didn't break her skull. She was bleeding because head wounds bleed a lot, right? But a legitimate fear for a very young child, right? Whatever you are feeling, you got to give yourself permission to feel it. Create a space in which you feel safe to feel it. And then just try to feel it like a child. That is not easy, and it will take practice. But it is the answer to draining this well of suppressed old fear out of your body, out of your soul, so that it stops coming up on a daily basis for you. That is the true ultimate solution to fear. Now, are you going to stop having fear across the board? No, because again, fear is necessary. Fear is healthy. Performers who get on stage, they know. I grew up as a dancer. We know if you have no nerves going on stage, it's going to be a flat and boring performance. It'll have no energy. Stage nerves actually feed the process of performing well, right? So while we performers look like they have no fear, the truth is we're always nervous. Absolutely. We've just learned to feel it and keep going. It's kind of like fear of heights when you're inside a building. You ever been to one of the tallest buildings in the US? There's the Sears Tower in Chicago, the Hancock Building as well, right? They have observation decks. And, who knows how thick that glass is, like 3-4 inches, and there's a rail. There's no way you're going to fall. There's no way you're going to fall. But you lean out over it and you go, ooh, and you feel that fear in your stomach, right? That's that pre-programmed fear of heights to keep us alive. And some of us who have challenged that fear of heights, have been in high places, can say, ooh, you feel that, and from experience, I know I'm totally safe. That glass is going to hold, that railing is going to hold, I'm not going to fall. So we can feel the fear and still look. Right? Some people, if you don't challenge the fear, it will grow. That's the other thing about fear and anxiety. Unaddressed fear and anxiety that is not worked with productively, intentionally, and with training you probably don't have at this point, will grow. It will get worse. I'm not trying to freak you out. I'm sorry if I am. I am trying to say you need to do something with it, not just avoid the things that frighten you, because the things that frighten you, that will grow. Either the list will get longer or the fear you experience around them will get bigger. It's the way fear works. It feeds itself. It's a neurological thing. But if you can connect your anxiety, your fear to a childhood experience, some of us, I have a friend who was bitten by a snake on her grandparents' farm when she was very little, terrified of all reptiles, especially snakes, well into, for her entire life. Working with that memory, she could eradicate the original fear by finishing it. And then start to challenge the fear that her nervous system has been programmed for. That's done through exposure therapy. I can teach you how to do that. It's actually not that hard. And you don't need me for that. Many, many practitioners know how to do exposure therapy. But when you don't remove, by feeling through your childhood emotions, you are leaving the original infection, I like to call it an infection, in place, and it will continue to rise to the surface again and again and again. And that's what AEQ is all about. Clearing out the root source of these emotions that are plaguing you on a daily basis. So I hope you heard something here that clicks for you. I don't expect you to understand or integrate all of it from just watching one video, but I wanted to introduce you to how AEQ applies in this particular circumstance around fear and anxiety. We'll never get over fear, and we shouldn't, but we can learn what to do with the fear that is productive, that changes things for you and gives you so much more freedom. And if you'd like support in doing that, nothing is better than one-on-one coaching. Let me show you how to work with your fear so that you can be free of unnecessary fear. Just contact me in the information below. I'm here for you. Thank you.